Okay, so how evil uses the record system as a weapon against people. So first of all, you have to understand conscious direction. Where conscious direction, the universe has a conscious direction, which is organic intelligence. There's no artificial measurements. There's no artificial communications being used within the natural world. These are all human inventions, human concepts that whenever artificial measurements and artificial communications is being used, then that becomes a conscious direction that's backwards to the forwards of the organic reality, and that's why it produces artificial and virtual realities like this phone that I'm speaking through now that would not exist without standard measurements and precise measurement systems, which is invented concepts, not invented concepts like a building or something, invented concepts by way of coming up with using our measurement systems, just using our quantity-based perception in a way that's artificially induced measurements rather than organic, because it's outside of our organic capacity by way of a device. So what's happening is that evil evil teaches that the backwards is forwards, the artificial and the organic is the same, and from the ground to the top to the top to the ground, and then where it uses the record system the same way, in essence, of where the record systems by way of the enforcement positions, driver's licenses, court records, records anywhere. And what happens is that whenever you have to rely on cooperation throughout the system, if they're false ego reactive, where they perceive that the artificial and organic realities are the same, which is the false ego, where the brain lies, then they're going to be already against you. And this is why it's also important to understand the difference between thinkers, feelers, and mind readers, where the psychics throughout the system, they're most likely going to be against you if they're perceiving that the backwards is forwards, so to speak, which is where the brain is addicted to lying, and addiction outweighs moral accountability. So what happens is they block you from trying to find somebody throughout the system, like lawyers or anywhere, to try and find help, just the same way you have to go to a mechanic. But if they're a false ego reactive or controlled by others, then they're not going to help you, or they're going to help you in the wrong way. And if you try to go do it yourself, they're going to try and block you or cause problems. And this is why it's so important to understand what the false ego is. And it's not required and it's not necessary, even within the same system that we have in place, for the false ego to exist. To get rid of the false ego is just full disclosure of the actual systems that we're using by way of communications and measurement systems.